It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. All right, let's play this audio. Chuck Schumer doing interviews, and he won't answer any questions. It's great right now. I mean, this is just, and it's all because of the Democrats' book, Original Sin, about the cover-up, the line. And Jake Tapper said it yesterday. They lied.
Yeah.
And then Jake Tapper's critics said, you lied. But Schumer just won't answer any questions. We played one audio cut earlier. This is when he was on CNN again yesterday, not answering any questions on this.
Called Original Sin, and they call it a cover-up of Biden's health and his cognition and his fitness, quite frankly, to be president of the United States. You sat next to Biden in the Oval Office February 27th, 2024, just a handful of months before the president took that debate stage. And it was later reported that you and other Democratic leaders were talking before the debate about having a plan. You and Hakeem Jeffries, Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama. I understand you later denied that that ever happened. But I am curious, I'm interested to know whether the man that you saw sitting there on that couch on that day, you were in there, you saw him up close and personal. Did you really not have any idea that he was not fit to serve a second term?
Casey, we're looking forward. We have the largest Medicaid cut in front of us. We have the whole federal government
You're facing all of
risk.
this because you lost a presidential election. And is that not Joe Biden's responsibility for deciding to run again?
We're looking forward.
That's it?
That's it.
Climbing up. Are the Democrats, is that going to be the Democrat talking point now? Do not answer any questions on it. Because the response is what's so effective. And it started out with Stelter on CNN. I don't know if she said it first or he said it first. One picked it up from the other because that seems to be the narrative among Democrats asking the question to Democrats once they won't answer the question is, but you wouldn't be in this spot. The fact of the cover-up and the lies is while you're in this spot. You're saying you want to talk about Trump. You wouldn't have to talk about Trump if you hadn't run Biden. They still might have had to deal with Trump, but
yeah.
That's their response to him, and it's bad. It's bad because everyone knows Chuck Schumer lied. Everyone know the Democrats lied. Everyone know that Jake Tapper lied, and he wrote the book. Everyone know the media lied. Everyone knows there was a cover-up on Joe Biden and that Karine Jean-Pierre lied. We knew it back then, and we called them liars at that point.
Right.
And Democrats were like, oh,
we
you're
could
just
all
caught
see
up in
it.
this. You're
And
just,
then they were trying to tell you that you shouldn't believe what your eyes are seeing.
Right.
And now, Jake Tapper, right after the election, we started writing the book. I bet you did.
Why
Dang,
not?
we better write a book.
Well, why not before?
Well, that's the thing. Is that when it was the most urgent? This could be dangerous if he has cognitive issues and he's the most powerful man in the free world. We better write a book next year. I mean, this is who they are. What they're trying to do, because they're really not capable of a real mea culpa. I think Morning Joe did the worst version of a mea culpa that you could do.
That was the worst version of Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Excuse me, of Joe Scarborough.
One moment it's F you if you can't handle the truth, and then after the election, well, I guess I just didn't see it.
Mika told me what I had to say that day.
I didn't see it, right, Mika?
Whatever Mika gets, whatever Mika wants, and
I didn't see it.
everyone knows I haven't always been a Democrat. She always has been in her family.
She made me do it.
And so I get to be with her, so I have to carry her BS.
Yeah, it's like
It's
those
not
two
my
little
fault.
kids on Jaws where they've got the fake shark fin, and they scare everybody and they get out, and then the one kid points to the other. He made me do it. It's like he's pointing his. I wish he would have done that. That would have been entertaining. That I might have believed.
Exactly.
She made me do it. Oh, well, okay, I see that. Yeah. That's closer to the truth, Joe Scarborough. But they go through this, because really they're not capable of a mea culpa. What they're capable of is writing a tell-all book. I know what we'll do. Let's take all this information that we've had all along and put it in book form. We know publishers will be chomping at the bit to get it. I'm Jake Tapper from CNN. It's a given. I'll call the publisher now. It's a done deal. And by the way, the book is already written.
Well, the only choice they have is to blame someone else, because the other choice is, no, we all lied. I lied to you.
Well,
I'm with
what's
CNN.
next?
I lied. I'm with MSNBC. I lied. I'm a Democrat. I lied. And that's the case. That's why Schumer's saying what he said, because Schumer knows the only answer that he can give that's credible is, I lied.
Yeah, right.
That's the only credible answer that Schumer can give. I lied. It was a cover-up.
Yes, and I was a huge part of that.
Right. So the only thing he can say is, I'm sorry, no comment, no comment, no comment, no comment. I'm not going to answer.
We're moving forward.
But everyone who says that now the Democrats are meeting this morning saying, okay, we got other Democrats now when we use that as a question, because this is Democrat on Democrat right now. The Republicans aren't even a part of this.
Right.
The Republicans, they tried it on social media. How come the Republicans won't drop the Biden thing? Well, actually, Jake Tapper isn't a Republican.
What's
and
next?
He's written the book.
They'll blame the Republicans for not insisting that he step down stronger back then. If you guys just would have been louder, maybe somebody would have actually heard you.
That's the problem. The only thing they can do is, because they sound stupid if they will either sound like they're complete idiots or liars. So
or both,
or both,
lying idiots.
Both, or lying idiots, and that's why Schumer's just simply saying we're going to move forward. But when they come back and say, "But you're only moving forward to talking about what Trump is doing right now that you disagree with because you covered it up.
Yeah,
you lied. You covered it up.
Yeah,
just amazing." Because now it doesn't work. Now it doesn't, well, no, we're moving forward. Well, you wouldn't have to move forward to talk about Trump.
By the way,
that's her answer.
That's a horrible answer, because it is the equivalent of, I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. We're looking forward. We're looking forward. We're not going to talk about it. I'm just not going to talk about it. Well, why wouldn't you talk about it? Of course, we know why you wouldn't talk about it, because it's incredibly damaging.
And it's beautiful because it's Democrats in the media putting Democrats on the spot.
Right.
They can't answer them.
Exactly. Where's the raw beef, Chuck? It's over and over again. They run into their own walls. It really is like they've built this brick house over and over again around themselves with no door out.
I was thinking, it was getting so entertaining yesterday. I thought, am I missing something? Am I supposed to pay a cover charge for this?
Right.
This is really entertaining.
Right. Well, should we not give them some money for doing all of our show prep? It's just
that is true.
Flying into our phones and our devices. And the thing is that all of these things were bound to happen. Right? If they didn't, at the same time that they insisted that he step down and not run, when they didn't insist that he step down, from being president, which would have been a massive mess, chaotic mess to get done. But the fact that they didn't do that means they were eventually going to have to answer questions. Because admittedly, as a collective, there was something wrong. He couldn't run, which to everybody else in the world also translated into he also can't run the country. So you're going to eventually have to answer the questions. It was inevitable that someone was going to write the book, and it wasn't going to be it wasn't going to be Mike Johnson. It wasn't going to be somebody from the right.
Yeah, it was going to be somebody from the left,
Yep.
Either inside the administration
Right.
or somebody on the left writing it
Yeah.
that they would be, for some reason, more willing to talk. I guess they'd be more willing to talk to Jake Tapper than Jesse Waters if he was doing the book.
Exactly. Because if it were a Jesse Waters book, the left would go, oh, blah, blah, there they go again. Well, and now they all know it. They don't know how to do a mea culpa. They don't know how to admit the truth. And the reason they don't want to admit the truth is because they were part of the cover-up.
Right.
You can't say, it is pleading the fifth. Because if you say anything, you're going to incriminate yourself. Tapper actually thinks he's getting away with this.
Well, he's not. I mean,
he isn't.
For example, I mean, this wasn't just on this was also just to show, I think, the pattern of hypocrisy. This was also making the rounds yesterday. Jake Tapper in the J.D. Vance interview, and J.D. Vance saying, "Look, you kept the Russia collusion lie going. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, I didn't." And then the cut comes up from the past of what Jake Tapper had to say. Here it is.
You guys talked about the Russia hoax nonstop.
The FBI was investigating it. The FBI was investigating it, and so we recovered them.
And so you took the words of unnamed FBI agents and put them on your network as if they were the gospel truth. You did it again and again. A viewer of your network would have believed that Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin conspired in 2016.
No.
That was totally and preposterously false.
No.
Well, that's
what you just said is false.
All right, I'm just stopping it right there because that's where that ends, and then they go back to young Jake Tapper.
Yeah.
Well, he does look younger in this. Would be about 4 years ago. Boy, he's aged. It's about 4 years. But here it is. Here's what he said in the past.
Trump has gone to, quote, extraordinary lengths to keep specifics about his meetings with Russian President Vladimir Putin secret, even keeping them from top members of his own administration. Take a listen to how President Trump responded Saturday night when asked directly if he has ever worked for Russia.
I think it's the most insulting thing I've ever been asked. I think it's the most insulting article I've ever had written.
The president did not directly answer the question. It's a stunning turn of events. Do you think the president of the United States ever worked on behalf of the Russians against American interests?
Again.
And so that was being used to show that there's a pattern of hypocrisy.
A guy that's in television forgets video exists.
Yeah.
He forgets that it's out there and you can see what he said, a year ago, 2 years ago. It's everywhere.
And then the video was going around. Yes, in fact, the Republicans put it out as part of their collage of Democrats in the media and Democrats in Congress saying nothing was wrong with Biden whatsoever. And there was the interview he did with Lara Trump when he said, "You're trying to diagnose him. You're trying to say there's something wrong with him. You're not a doctor."
Yeah.
The same thing. So, I mean, but again, it's beautiful to watch all of this. It's extremely entertaining. And because Chuck Schumer didn't answer the question, he's going to continue to get questions on that.
Yeah. Yes.
But he looks
the
really bad.
The more you stall, the more you say, we're moving forward. We're not moving forward. The liberal media is not moving forward on this. They want to keep going down this.
Well, the thing is,
road.
They helped carry this is the thing. The liberal media covered it up, and everybody's trying to blame somebody else.
Right.
Everybody's
let's bring Schumer out here. We'll blame him.
Yeah. I was fooled.
Tapper.
You guys lied to us. The administration, the Biden administration lied to us.
Yeah.
We didn't know. We were just following what they said, and you didn't have eyes of your own.
Right.
You couldn't observe the cognitive, the decreasing cognitive abilities of the president when the entire nation, who does not have the access that you did to the president, recognized it.
Yeah.
The vast majority of Americans recognized it, and you didn't. And your excuses, they lied to you, so you believed it?
Right. Then get out of journalism.
Yeah. Either way, whether it's the politicians or the media, it's bad.
It really is.
866-90 Red Eye.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by House Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
What might weather look like where you are at this month and the summer months? USDA meteorologist Brad Rippey offers an outlook.
Still looks like a hot forecast for the western U.S., possibly in the deep south and the east as well. Maybe a little bit more favorable in the upper Midwest.
As for possible long-range precipitation, or lack thereof,
Model consensus suggests the Southwest could finally get some good drought relief with the monsoon season starting in July and beyond. And then tropical moisture, organized or not, could lead to wet weather in the eastern U.S. later this year, continuing. Ridge of high pressure maybe kind of tilted a little bit, oriented from northwest through Texas. That's where your heat may be concentrated. Monsoon possibilities in the southwest, tropical rains in the southeast, and still that kind of pesky dry or drought signal for the northern plains, far upper Midwest. And the models have been very consistent the last few months in forecasting some type of dry signal for that area. So that is a concern, especially where drought already exists.
I'm Ron Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90 Red Eye.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. All right, this was the president yesterday in Saudi Arabia. Here we go.
I want to make a deal with Iran. I want to do something if it's possible. But for that to happen, it must stop sponsoring terror, halt its bloody proxy wars, and permanently and verifiably cease its pursuit of nuclear weapons. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. I don't imagine there's anybody at this table or anybody in this room that would say they can. I'm strongly urging all nations to join us in fully and totally enforcing the sanctions that I just placed on Iran, and we also placed secondary sanctions, which are in certain ways even more devastating. Iran, as you know, had no money when I left office. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. There was no attack. There was no thought of attack. There would have been no attack if I were president.
When I saw that he wishes to lift the sanctions on Syria because of the new regime, a lot of people went, well, but it's like, yeah, but I know what he's doing. And as I think it was Lindsey Graham said, this isn't going to take effect immediately. Congress has to get involved in this and all this, which gives them time. And to throw out a carrot, I've got no problem with.
Yeah, you talk about the intent.
Right. Well, when I saw that, the first thing I thought was he's really trying to isolate Iran now.
Yeah.
And when I saw, let's get an Abraham Accord between Israel and Saudi Arabia, I said, okay, really trying to isolate Iran.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
That's the entire point. If you can isolate, if you can sit there and say, okay, you don't want to be associated with them, you want to be associated with us.
Right.
You're taking a calculated risk. But I believe it's a risk worth taking.
I certainly do, yes.
And he's had success in negotiating in the Middle East already.
Listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
It's Friday Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. All right, I just want to play this audio cut here. Not an audio cut of the day or anything, but I'd mentioned it earlier. Then again, it could be an audio cut of the day since the two big stories yesterday was Trump over in the Middle East and the Biden book written by Jake Tapper, and the whole story about George Clooney, who's known Biden for years. Biden didn't recognize who he was, and it freaked him out.
Yeah.
Freaked Clooney out, apparently, according to the book. And again, Jake Tapper's been taking a lot of shots from his critics saying, look, you hid this thing too. You hid it. Mm-hmm. You enabled it. You enabled it all along. Yeah. The people of America saw it. We know cognitive decline. And that's the entire point. And this is the case where Lara Trump was talking about there's something wrong with him. This goes back to last year. And Jake Tapper, you have no evidence of that whatsoever. Listen to how he defends Biden here. Here we go.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
It's very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You have no. I can't. That's so amazing. It's so amazing to me that
try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline. President Biden embraces his stutter, talking about it, while Trump mocks it, exaggerates it, belittles it. He's sharp physically. I mean, mentally. Yeah. I think the question is physically, right?
Right.
More so?
Right.
Right. And the guy who's his chief opponent is only 3 or 4 years younger than him.
Exactly.
I mean, you have questioned President Biden's age, mental fitness, ability to lead. Of those supporting Biden, you said, quote, shame on all of you pretending everything is okay. You're leading us and him into a disaster. Do you worry that you damaged him at all? I don't doubt that you got hugs and handshakes behind closed doors today, and maybe even publicly, some of them because they like you personally. But I've heard a lot of really nasty stuff about you from your Democratic colleagues. Sure. I mean, just like, what is he thinking? Exercise in narcissism. I mean, false claims to the Wall Street Journal.
Now, by the way, that was Dean Phillips who ran for a short time against Biden. Remember that? He's going after Dean after saying, you have no evidence of the cognitive abilities either, just to put that into context. Here we go. Here's more of it.
About President Biden's mental fitness and acuity. He's 81, and his memory, it doesn't seem great. It's not horrible, but I don't understand the outrage. Quote, behind closed doors, Biden shows signs of slipping, unquote. The Wall Street Journal is owned by News Corp, which is run by the Murdochs. Beyond the headline, there is some critical nuance here. The article is mostly based on observations of Republicans, with former Speaker Kevin McCarthy the only one going on the record. They do note in the article that most of the criticism comes from Republicans. Have you heard any concerns from anyone who has met with President Biden about him seeming a little slower?
No.
The Russians are trying to make us and the public not trust our election integrity. Joe Biden has dementia, all this stuff.
There you go. And then the from Grabian News, and then the book comes up, Original Sin, as a Tapper is saying that President Biden's decline, its cover up, and the disastrous choice to run him again. Jake Tapper.
Yeah.
So,
it's so bizarre, but also it's the only way it could have gone with someone like Jake Tapper.
Yeah.
Jake Tapper is never wrong, even when he's contradicting himself.
But I'm glad he wrote the book, because if somebody on the right wrote the book, it would not get any publicity on the mainstream media.
And that's actually I was telling a friend yesterday, maybe the day before, it must have been yesterday, I think, that this never would have been a thing if somebody, I mean, you mentioned Jesse Waters. Actually, that's the perfect example. If Jesse Waters wrote the book from Fox News, there wouldn't have been a thing.
No.
But it was Jake Tapper. And the thing is because from a Jesse Waters, it wouldn't have been a tell-all, and it wouldn't have been a 180. It would have been repeating the things he was saying while Biden was still in office. So this is a big deal because the internet exists. And people like Jake Tapper either don't care that it does, they forget that it does, or they think people just won't look it up. I don't know.
Well, another point, if and we're just using Jesse Waters as an example because he works for Fox.
Right.
If Jesse Waters wrote the book, every single Democrat, Schumer would be answering the questions. He'd be saying, like Jesse Waters has good sources.
Exactly.
That's all BS.
That's
These aren't
just lie.
sources. That didn't happen.
Fox
That's a lie.
News.
But isn't that interesting? Nobody on the left is questioning Jake Tapper's sources.
They're not.
No one, not one.
They're not. There's none of the answers have been, this is untrue. Now, I don't know what George Clooney will say when they find him hiding in Italy. Because the media's, there are two people they're going to seek out over the next few days. They're going to continue to seek answers from Schumer, and they're going to look for George Clooney to comment on this. And I might see something. I could see George Clooney saying, "Oh, the book isn't accurate. That's not how it went." I'm always concerned about the health of any person that I meet, and I expressed maybe something like that, but it's nothing like what the book says. But if that doesn't happen, the thing is that we all saw it. We weren't there in the George Clooney moment, but we all saw those moments over and over again. So it's plausible. This isn't like all of us were witnessing Joe Biden at his best and at the top of his game, and then something like this reportedly happened behind the scenes. What the book says happened with George Clooney are the things that all of us saw on a regular basis for the last 4 years.
Yes, it just wasn't.
It wasn't something
it
wasn't, this, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. By the way, this isn't a tell-all book. This is a well-duh book.
I like that. Yeah, this wasn't a 2024 thing with Biden. This has been going on since he ran for president.
Right.
The first time, but yeah, it's just when you think about it, nobody's questioning. No one. I've heard nobody on the left say, "Well, you can't trust the sources from Jake Tapper." It's assumed. That's the beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It's assumed because he wrote it that it's accurate.
Right.
And so when Jake Tapper says the Biden administration lied, is Karine Jean-Pierre going to respond?
Right. Right.
Is Karine Jean-Pierre 2.0 going to respond? Mm-hmm. What's his name? John? I can't think of his name. I got mind blank here. The other.
Oh.
The Pentagon spokesperson.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Are they going to be shocked and out? We can't believe that Jake Tapper, all of this is false. Is Biden going to respond? Is Jill going to respond?
Well, I don't think she'll respond. But Kirby is who you were thinking about, right?
Yeah.
And Karine Jean-Pierre. People will seek them out. Jake Sullivan.
Yeah, everyone. Anyone who served in the administration, yeah. Anybody who talked and said he's any of the generals that said, "Oh, no, he's got great cognitive abilities," whatever.
Right.
Anybody on the cabinet who said it. Mayorkas said it.
Right.
The members of the cabinet that said the problem is with Biden is he is so aware and so physically up to the job that the young people can't keep up with him.
Right.
Remember that?
Yeah, the problem isn't his cognitive issues. The problem is keeping up with him.
Yes. He's so it's exactly the opposite. His cognitive and physical abilities are so incredibly great that no one can keep up with him. That's the problem that his staff is having.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, gosh. All right, in other news, a federal grand jury indicted Wisconsin Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan yesterday. She was indicted on charges of concealing a person from arrest and obstruction of proceedings, which is accurate.
Yep.
And the point is, crickets from Democrats yesterday on this.
I didn't see anyone jumping out in front of that.
Crickets.
Yeah.
After everything that they were going through, now I expect someone, if the mayor of New Jersey's got nothing going on his docket today, he may come out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Since he may find himself in the exact same position she's in.
Right, exactly.
I mean, not the same charges, but...
Right. But it's, and those are two interesting parallels here. No one's claiming Jake Tapper is lying.
Yeah.
Not yet, anyway.
Nope.
And remember the book? We've known about this book for a while. There's more coming out from the book, but the more that comes out, the more you would expect by now. Like Schumer. It's false. Because if you're going to lie, you just go the full lie, right?
Schumer all of a sudden decides not to lie.
Why Jake Tapper wrote the book and who told him these lies, or the fact that he's lying, I don't know which is which. But why that's happening, I can't tell you, but it's lies. The book is wholly inaccurate, and these are not the truths that you're hearing. I mean, if you're going to lie, you just stick to your guns.
And finally, James Carville, yesterday, Democrat strategist, veteran, is he still a campaign strategist, or is he a former veteran campaign strategist? I don't think he works for the Democrats anymore, does he?
I don't think so, officially, no.
But he's been lecturing them. Well, there's a bunch of words he doesn't want them to use. Equity has to go.
Yeah.
Equity has to go. He said, don't use the term generational change, because there's a lot of people that are older. Why do you want to limit your appeal on your message to younger voters? Believe me, generational change is coming whether you want it or not. I got news for you. Don't use words like structural. We're not attacking the structural issues in the world right now. We're trying to, stay alive to the next day. He also warned against using equity, saying use equally instead. People basically don't know what equity means, and if they do know what it means, it looks like you're trying to force an outcome. And then he called out Sanders and AOC for running the Fighting Oligarchy Tour. There's another stupid word, oligarch. Who the F knows what an oligarch is, as opposed to the very acceptable word I've talked about before is fat cats. Everyone knows what a fat cat is. Everyone talks about what a fat cat is. Yeah. Meanwhile, the word community has just been tainted by politics. I wouldn't use the word community. I don't have nothing wrong with the word community, nothing wrong with being in a community. It's just such a Democratic word.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
That's funny.
He argued by using such terms, you're just trying to show people how smart you are. Don't use words like that. Don't use words like intersectionality.
I love it.
Oh, my gosh. As if words are the problems with Democrats.
Exactly.
James, again, listen to Julian Epstein, the longtime Democrat, former counsel to the Democrats in Congress. They suck on the issues.
Yep.
866-90 Red Eye.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Did you see where anybody has a George Clooney interview today? Any of the morning shows, anybody get him?
No.
You would expect that would be the next thing to happen, right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. I think it's going to be they're going to go after Chuck, and they're going to seek out George Clooney for a comment, and we'll see where that goes. I'm guessing Clooney will say something like, "No, that's greatly exaggerated. I always express my concern for the health of people that I know and love, and blah blah blah." But no, what's in the book isn't accurate, and I'll just leave it at that, without calling Jake Tapper a liar, which is, in effect, calling Jake Tapper a liar. It's because How do you get around that? And is that the eventual turn? Jake Tapper's a liar. This is, his sources failed him. I don't know where they go with it, because where they're going based on the last 24 hours or so is not good.
No, sources sound like they're just bitter Kamala Harris people that came over from the Biden, remember?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the Kamala Harris campaign was the Biden campaign members.
Exactly.
And people are bitter because of the change and the loss of blah, 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 yada, yada.
Right.
I can't come up with a coherent narrative here, but
neither can
they.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.